I can feel you close by, Charmer. I find it amusing that you think you'd be capable of hiding from me at all. I figured you may want to remain undisturbed for the time being. Is that your way of asking for my company? As you wish. Are you out here in hopes of greeting me when I returned? You seem to have a habit of doing so lately. In that case, are you out here seeking nourishment for yourself? I can smell food, but there doesn't appear to be any in view. I see. If I might ask, what is it that you were cooking tonight? Is that a particularly difficult dish to create? You humans are so fascinating at times. Well, actually, I think it would be more apt to say that I find you fascinating at times. There's quite a number of reasons why I hold that sentiment, but in this case, I can't help but remain impressed by your ability to create food. I don't say that as a being who has no need for it. I say that as someone who can recognize a skilled artisan when I see one, even if your creation takes this form. It's not a kindness, it's simply the truth. Of course, this is the towel you're referring to, correct? Here you are. Hmm? What is it? Oh, apologies. I hadn't realized my tail was pressing against you. Would you like me to move it? It's no issue to myself. There you are. Why are you curious as to where I was these past few hours? You say that as though I was at your bedside when you went to sleep, Charmer. I never said your curiosities were prohibited. However, I don't recall confirming that I'd satisfy them either. Fine, my charming friend. I will indulge you once more. I decided I'd combat my boredom by seeking out a meal. You're a lovely source on your own, but variety never hurt anyone. I had no return time in mind when I departed, more concerned with finding an interesting source to feed on. I found plenty. I trailed a siren for quite some time, drinking up the desire he left in his wake. You'd be surprised at what can be stirred up by a stranger. Then, there was a pair of humans that were exploring each other in an alley I passed. The cocktail of desire that came from that interaction was fascinating, to say the least. And that's ignoring the fact that they were willing to risk getting caught in such a compromising position. But they weren't what captured my attention the most. When I go hunting for desire, I have a preference for this form. Comparably, it allows me the opportunity to go undetected by more individuals. And if someone vivified takes issue with a Cupid being near them, it's none of my concern if I can feed nonetheless. But then my eyes fell onto a stagnant girl. If I had to make an estimation, I'd assume she was no older than 18. She had no way of knowing I was watching her, my steps only a few feet behind hers. I could feel waves of different emotions radiating off of her as she walked, but I couldn't discern the source. Then she received a phone call. I moved closer as she spoke, listening to what I could hear at a reasonable distance. As I understood it, she was speaking with her father, who was yelling on the other end. It was when the call ended that I understood what I had picked up on: a visceral hatred, one made up of various emotions, mixing and melting into each other as they ran through her body. It burned deep within her, so intense that the temptation to shift forms and speak to her loomed in my mind. Instead, I fed on her, soothing what I could before redirecting the action she intended to take when she returned home. I didn't intend to stand by and watch someone risk their well-being if I could have any influence otherwise. It's moments like these I consider taking up desire work in this realm. I appreciate your continued faith in me, Charmer, but, as I've said before, I'm still unsure of how I would execute such work. Are you using my own words against me? That is true. It's not as if I'm bound to any sort of rules or regulation now. I could conduct it however I will please. I'm saying that I will further consider our previous conversations. You know, that wasn't even the highlight of my time out, if you ask me. Seeing a fellow Cupid roaming about. Seeing another in their true form as well is, at least it is to me. It rarely happens from my perspective, and when it does, they tend to make themselves scarce shortly thereafter. But tonight, I got close enough to make direct eye contact with them. My guess is that they've yet to hear the whispers of my appearance. Either way, I managed to avoid that physical altercation, which is nice. Charmer. Charmer, I'm not hurt. I don't have any new injuries from tonight, but you're free to continue inspecting me up close if you want to confirm yourself. You act as if I came home with a blade buried in my thigh again. Even so, my body was more than capable of healing itself then. If I get hurt while outside of the apartment, the injury will take care of itself. Life is full of risks, Charmer. I cannot promise you that I won't end up in harm's way when we're apart. But I can assure you that as long as I'm well fed, I will be safe. And if it's any consolation, you keep me well fed indeed. Your fangs are extended again. The apology isn't necessary. So, when do you intend to leave for your dynasty meetings tonight? I assume it hasn't started yet, given your presence here. Is Desiree aware of this? I was of the understanding that you cared deeply about respecting your crown's time. Is it normal for them to reschedule these meetings? I see. This change in plans happened fairly recently, yes? Meaning, you have no other plans for tonight now that your meeting is no longer taking place, correct? I'm happy to hear that. I admit, I am enjoying this confirmation quite a bit, but that's because our apartment feels like it should when I can feel your presence as well. It isn't quite the same when you're not home with me. I'm glad the feeling is mutual. So, How do you intend to use your newfound free time? You want to go somewhere with me. Could you elaborate further as to what that would entail? You haven't provided many details yet. Charmer, you just got through cooking yourself food. Why exactly would you want to go to a convenience store now? We went on one a few weeks ago. Is that not reason enough? Allow me to pivot my line of questioning then. When was the last time you fed? And did you feel sustained by the end? I don't mind entertaining this idea of yours, but if your body is in need of something more fulfilling, I would have to suggest you locate blood before any considerations are made. Hmm. All right. I trust that you'd inform me otherwise. Now then, how soon would you like to leave? Are you ready to go? Is there any way I can assist you? Of course. I believe I remember where you keep that. Bottom drawer over there, yes? Here you are. No, I won't be staying in my true form while we're out. I had simply forgotten to shift yet. Charmer, if I didn't know any better, I'd start to think you have a preference for my appearance. I'm teasing, I assure you. Rest assured, I understand that the choice is mine to make. I have no issues presenting myself as a human in public. It'll minimize the amount of eyes on you. I appreciate that, but I am more than happy to be seen at your side, Charmer. There's no need to dwell on my decision. Let's go. And Raphael, he's Sierra's partner, correct? That must be interesting from your perspective. A member of your dynasty dating someone from another. I'll take your word for it then. I can tell you had a different question on your mind. If you have a question, you can ask it. Potential embarrassment shouldn't be justification for denying yourself knowledge. What is it that you'd like to know? Now that is certainly a question. I wasn't expecting something like that to leave your lips, Charmer. It's surprising to me because it tells me you're unaware of the answer and that you've been thinking about this enough to seek it out. If I were to simplify my answer, yes, you can't feed on me, but it's a more complicated matter. Cupid blood doesn't sustain a vampire's body in the same way human blood does. Usually, feeding on a vivified human can be more fulfilling for you due to the presence of magic. However, the potency of our blood is so high comparably that it offers little to no recovery. It's also why, when a vampire drinks a Cupid's blood, it burns going down. Our blood is best ingested in moderation, though This is largely in part to the body needing time for the side effects to wear off. Cupid's blood is emotionally placating. When a vampire feeds on us, they will feel calmer, or at ease, so to speak. That is the main reason most vampires are willing to drink our blood in the first place. Besides that, the vampire's eyes will glaze over and turn silver, becoming increasingly reflective the more they drink. If a vampire drinks too much of our blood, silvery marks will spread around their mouth, or down their throat in some cases. Depending on how much blood is consumed, the marks can last anywhere from a few hours to several days. The marks take on the appearance of blood running down the chin and neck, usually stopping around the base of the throat, but it can go as low as the top of one's sternum. Don't misunderstand me, though. If you'd like to feed on me someday, that's still an option. But there's one caveat I should mention. While Cupid's blood naturally possesses a high potency of magic, I would consider myself a unique risk. Oh, my dear charmer. The blood of a fallen Cupid is far harsher than that of my true counterparts. My classification holds plenty of weight in this context as well. Up. I want you looking at me as I speak these words. My ability to intake non-affectionate desires means, in theory, I'm able to feed more often and take more compared to a true Cupid. My magic is less restrained altogether, no pointless bindings holding me back. With all that magic coursing through my body at any given moment, it makes perfect sense that my blood would become further infused. So, let's play with the thought of me granting you permission to feed on my blood, the way I'd grip your face and remind you that I'm the one allowing you to indulge your curiosity. Knowing you, your fangs would be extended long before I let you anywhere near my skin. And then, the moment your teeth finally sink into me, you can only wonder what that first drop of blood against your tongue would taste like. And you wouldn't be focused on that. No, you'd be far more concerned with the way my blood feels going down your throat. The warm, burning sensation that you're unable to escape as you drink your fill, each swallow agony and aching until your mouth grows accustomed to the pain. I'm sure the second you push past that point, you'd be desperate to take in more and more until your skin bears proof of the price of that craving. Right along here. Tell me, charmer, would that be worth enduring? The choice would be yours to make. You're free to track me down whenever you decide you'd like to give it a try. Don't say I didn't warn you, though. Come on, we should be on our way. Usually, I follow you around until you've made your final purchases. If we're going in search of snacks, so to speak, what would you personally suggest I try? I'd prefer it if it's something you've tried at least once before. Otherwise, I suppose I'd give you free range over this hypothetical selection. Why?